So, Shane827 asked me if I can have a crack at a regen build. Yeah, not my strong point. Mainly just because, the game has a very unique dynamic. If you play a DPS build, you do a lot of damage, but you're squishy. If you play a tanky build, you can take a lot of damage, but you don't do a lot. I get very tired of people being like, oh my god, check out this amazing build. It's like one-man army, all the armor regen and amazing damage. And you sort of look at them going, yeah, your armor and armor regen is pretty good, but your damage is actually terrible, mate. I can hit 4 times that. Like, stop it. So when it comes to this style of build, trying to get all the components that I particularly like in the build is actually pretty damn difficult. However... Yes, Kaiser, if you're watching this, I said however. Apparently he likes telling me how much I say however in my videos. Foregoing certain tropes that would be more beneficial on the armor regen side to allow us to get a little bit more damage and potentially be a lot more aggressive because we do more damage, kind of does play into my style of play. I tend to be very aggressive. I'm quite well known for blasting into a mission and failing it in the first 5 seconds just because I forget to take cover because Perfect Last Cannon's tanky, right? It's clearly not, and I go down like a sack of potatoes dropped off at yesterday's farm, ready for an Irish lady to make her cottage pie. Anyway, so I tried to find a few ways around a few things, utilizing the brand shiny, spanking new Uzina sets. Pretty sure you can see where I'm going with this, along with the fact that I'm pulsing. Now, I did make a few mistakes in this build, however, I will be pointing them out for you so that you are able to improvise, adapt, and overcome, as we say, as well as allowing you to adapt the build to your playstyle. For example, the specialization I am running, Gunner, is purely there for the 10% armor on kill. You can run literally whatever specialization you like. Depending on your play, it would just mean that you will potentially want to swap out your gloves. The gloves I'm running at the moment are Gila Guard. I have one piece Gila Guard for the 5% armor. I'm also running one piece Bellstone. However, if you wanted to keep, because at max we have 20% armor on kill from 2 piece Uzina and Gunner specialization, if we wanted, we could swap to Technician and get another skill tier for our pulse. It will also put our shield to skill tier 6 rather than 5. But if we wanted that 20% armor on kill, it means we'd have to swap the Gila Guard gloves for Bellstone. Don't necessarily need to put the same things in the same order that I have, although if you do copy my build exactly, then you're kind of going to be limited because I've got 1 exotic and 3 named. Go me. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed match build, so don't get too excited. I'm obviously using Scanner Pulse because I'm obviously using Perfect Spotter, and let's face it, Perfect Spotter, Perfect Opportunistic, and then the Scorpio debuff. That is basically what is allowing us to get some pretty decent-ish damage. I am testing out the Catharsis for the first time ever in a build as well, and yeah, I won't lie, I've not noticed it. I've not noticed the damage increases. I've not noticed the healing cloud it's supposed to shit out. I just don't know. Maybe it's that discreet and that handy that I've just not noticed it, or it's a pile of crap. More testing required. Yeah. I also set myself a target of completely staying away from Memento, because pretty much whenever you see one of these one-man army armor regen builds, it's always got Memento in. And I really want to go a different route, even if it ends up being worse. So if it is worse than your Memento armor regen build, I do apologise, but it's just one of those really annoying stereotypes that I just can't live with any longer. It's just sort of like, oh my god, I played solo. Memento best in slot. Go away. Go away. Just to prove a point as well, just because for some odd reason I've got like a near enough a 90% chance to get rogues on what's this mission called again? The Washington Hotel. I pretty much always get rogues in this room, so it's one of the reasons I picked it. I wanted to see how well it stood up against rogues, and to be honest, it's kind of cheating. Scorpio, make anything easy. You don't really even need a build, just screw it. Use Scorpio. I get that. However, if you're going to do a build that's kind of like hybrid, mixing up some armor regen or a bit of skill tier and weapon damage, etc, etc. Let's face it, we're using Scorpio. I did test it out with a few other things. Tsunami worked pretty damn well, as well as Lady Death. And for a hilarious factor, for some dumb reason, I thought it would be really, really clever to try it out with Backfire. It worked pretty good, I'm not going to lie, actually did some pretty decent damage. So one of the main things I like about builds, particularly one like I've come up with here, which for me is its strongest selling point, is I've got 1 red core, 1 yellow core and 4 blue cores. These can all be swapped around depending on how you want to utilise it or build, depending on the gear drops you've got. You can go 6 red and it would work just fine, you'll do more damage but be a bit more squishy. You can utilise different skills to allow for a more skill tiered orientated build. The only thing that you will require will be pulse, because we're running obviously perfect flatline. And it just seems to work very well on a variety of different setups with different weapons, so you haven't even got to use the weapons I'm using. I mean, I've got an M1A with boomerang on, for crying out loud, and I'm still proccing boomerang. Flatline would obviously be better, but hey ho, can't have it all. Due to the mess that this build has kind of become, it would actually be a perfect opportunity to actually state that regardless of your favourite YouTuber or anyone that you are watching, do not take anyone's build at face value. Okay, I don't care if they're the most amazing player and the most amazing YouTuber ever, or whatever, the top PvP player or some level of speedrunner. Every build is unique to an individual, or there'll be a build that is unique to a purpose, and these people have trained their arses off to succeed at that one individual specific purpose. Case in point on this is the speedrunner stability build for cracking the chungas through the train door. You'll have a look at the build and go, how the fuck is that a sniper build? It looks more like an LMG build with headshot and handling for some dumb reason, but it's so that they can literally shoot through a tiny crack in the door. That's literally all it does, and people practice this for hours on end. Okay, so just use every build you see as like a skeleton. Make your own mind up about it and then work around it, change different things. Anyway, what I'm going to show here is the armor regen per second. I'm going to wipe out everything and just, yeah, you can see the armor regen. Showing you the numbers is all one thing, but that doesn't mean much when you can't visually see how much armor you regen per second. So, not too shabby. There are obviously better armor regen builds, but this is what I'm going with. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Now for the armor on kill, adding in the armor regen, it takes about 3 kills to actually get to max armor. Probably should have picked a weaker target just to show it a little bit more accurately, but still. So 3 kills and we're basically at full armor. Damage wise, it's okay. It is absolutely not the best. It's an armor regen build. What are you expecting? Anyway, onto the build. So, as I said, specialization is gunner. This doesn't really matter. It's only there because it's giving us the 10% armor regen along with 2-piece Uzina. If you want to change specialization, I'd recommend changing the Gila Guard gloves. Scorpio, because we need damage. Scorpio, that's the only reason. If you want to change it up, feel free. I would suggest going with a shotgun, or at least some way in which you are able to pulse targets, preferably. Catharsis with a critical hit damage mod. I think I've already said enough on Catharsis. I like the idea behind it, I just don't see Like, I mean, like, visually, I don't see it working the way I imagined it in my head. Probably should go with Night Watcher to get a greater pulse cooldown so you can pulse more often. Close the chest for perfect spotter, and the setup for perfect opportunistic, pulsing targets with a shotgun that also debuffs the enemy by 20% or buffs your damage by 20%, pick one, same difference, equals a fair chunk of damage. I'm just dumb and keep forgetting to pulse. Bellstone holster, that I have rolled red. I have been very lucky with this, and then obviously I'm running Emperor's Guard. Emperor's Guard is staying yellow because 1, Murakami 20% duration. It is just keeping me kind of in a small gap, a small window of pulses. So the duration is 14 seconds and the cooldown is 18. At skill tier 1, this works just fine. Swapping to Technician would give you skill tier 2 and would put you in an overlap, or you could run Night Watcher, which would be arguably the better option. I'm just a dumb fuck. Anyway, that is my armor regen build. I actually quite enjoyed doing this one. If anyone has any other requests of weird and wacky dumb stuff I can do, I'm all over it. Although Sishu's kind of beating you to one of them, and I hate you, Sishu. Good luck, have fun, don't die. It's bad for the health.